Would you please welcome George Miller?
Thank you very much. Now, if you have seen me on TV, you know I am the comic who's always looking for a gimmick, something that'll shoot me to the top. For a while, I was the little-known fact comic. I presented amazing, hard-to-believe little-known facts. For instance, did you know that 98% of all the Visine sold in this country runs down the side of your face? Okay, tonight I'm the bothered comic. Here's some stuff that bothers me, okay? I don't like guys who brag about their temper. Hey, when I get mad, you don't want to be around. I don't want to be around when he's delighted. How about guys, no matter what the subject, they'll get it back to sex. Hey, did you feel the earthquake this morning? Yeah, I felt the earthquake in my pants. He's pointing to that guy. I saw that. He's pointing to you. I don't like typecasting in Hollywood. You know, they typecast these actors and actresses. Have you ever noticed Carl Malden always plays a guy with a big nose? I'd like to say something to all the gay people in the audience. I'm sick of hearing about your activities. Your parades are blocking the street. I've been told when I left Seattle to come down to California, watch yourself when you get to L.A., very large gay community, and like all comedians, I overreact in every situation. I'm sitting there at the counter of a restaurant one day, and this guy kind of giving me the eye. I thought, well, maybe he's like that. If he says anything, I'll come right out and ask. So I'm chewing, and he's looking, and I'm chewing, and he's looking, and finally he says, "Say, would you please pass me the salt?" I said, "Yeah, here you go. Are you queer?" He said, "No. Do they use a lot of salt?" I don't like, here's the irritation. I'm bothered by getting stopped by the police. I was stopped recently for minor infraction. I think I had a taillight out. But I was real nervous. You know how you get? And you over-answer the cop. You over-answer because you shook up. "Do you own this car?" "Yes, I do. I bought it from my mom. She's in Seattle. She has diabetes." Tell them more than they really cared to know. Any kind of car trouble. I had a motorcycle for a while, then I sold it to a motorcycle gang. They gave me $3 plus a savage beating. You know the dumbest thing I ever did mechanically? I once drove from Seattle to New York with my emergency brake on, 3,000 miles, yeah. Greyhound fired my ass right after that. I don't like flying around very much either, and as they said, I was doing some David Letterman shows. David Letterman one time introduced me on his show. He said, "George Miller looks like the kind of a guy who sits next to a stranger on a bus and says, 'Hey, are you going to finish that sandwich?'" There's a lot of rumors about Letterman. I don't think the rumor is true that just before he makes love, he always says, "Let's get on with it, shall we?" And after it's over, that was Paul Schaefer in the band. NBC has not given the Letterman show a big budget. I knew that when I got my plane tickets in the mail. I had never heard of Ronco Airlines before. Actually, the last time I went to the East Coast, I went on, I guess it was Continental Airlines. And it was a wonderful flying experience. "Flight attendant, could you make it a little bit colder in here? I can still move my toes." And I think there should be a law against ugly people hugging and kissing at the airport. Having a look at this spoils everybody's trip. And I get on a plane. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, so naturally everybody got one of those little prisoner of war TV dinners. And afterwards, the flight attendant came around with a complimentary after-dinner mint. Oh, no thanks. I couldn't eat another bite. The same thing happened to me that always happens anytime I have lunch or dinner on an airplane. I burn my tongue on one of those piping hot rolls. Why don't they put a warning on those things? And fresh? Oh, yeah. The last time that roll saw an oven was about 72, something like that. Hey, you know a good trick to play on the flight attendant? When she brings around your dinner, stand up and yell, "I didn't order this and I'm not paying for it!" And I was suspicious of something. I did some investigating. I am mentioned in the rule book by name. Listen to this. Federal Aviation Rule number 337 states that all aircraft are constructed so that if comic George Miller is on board, it is mechanically impossible for the plane to take off unless there is a screaming baby directly in back of him. And after dinner, I'm trying to take a nap, but I can't do it because a little kid right behind me is getting into the Guinness Book of World Records by opening and closing his tray table 1,000 times a minute. And we get back to New York, no expense spared with the Letterman show. They put us up at the Loud Maid Motel. I think the one thing everybody looks for in a first-class motel, plastic drinking glasses, especially when they've been bolted down and you have to slurp like a dog. Here's the irritation. I like elderly people. I always get along well with elderly people. Unless they brag about their age. Look at me! I'm 94 years old! Well, good. That means you'll be passing away soon. Let's talk about death, because I always felt sorry for Mr. Bojangles because his dog upped and died. It's bad enough when a pet passes away, but when he ups and then dies. How many of you like magic? Yay! I can't stand magic. Pick a card, any card. I don't want to pick a card. Get the hell away from me. But if I do pick a card and the magician does the trick correctly, he'll be able to tell me which card I picked. Who cares? I know which card I picked. I'm secure enough if he finds out too, I can live with it. They're always giving you this, 25 cents. Here's 25 cents. That doesn't impress me. I have my own money. If I go broke, I won't be fingering my ear for a lousy quarter. Here's some everyday irritation. This happens every day. Somebody calls me, I'm not there. They leave a message. I call them back, they're not there. I get their secretary or their answering service. I say, "This is George. I'm returning Mr. Baker's phone call." They always say the same thing. "Does Mr. Baker have your number?" No, he called me the first time with a series of wild stabs. This happens every day. I say something. I know the person heard me say it, but they repeat what I say. "Can I borrow $5? I know the guy heard it. This is $5? What I do now, if I know they heard it and they repeat it, I switch what I said to mix them up. Like I'm in this restaurant. Waitress came over very plainly. I said, "No dessert." She said, "No dessert?" I said, "Apple pie." Apple pie? No dessert. I hate if something is too stupid. A couple of true things. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I went to a downtown hotel, and I called to the desk clerk, and I said, "Could I leave a wake-up call for 11?" And the guy actually said, "11 o'clock?" I said, "No, 11 a chicken."